Hello, everybody. Welcome to Watching Rugby with Lee. This week we took a look at the two matches in the championship, the Rugby Championship, both nail biters for different reasons. I just rewatched the All Blacks game again.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought the ref was appalling. I thought South Africa were appalling. I don't know how they didn't. It was 6-3 at halftime,
Yeah.
and they had all the possession, and their only form of attack is Defap running around the ruck, firing at whoever who wants to run straight. And that's it.
Yeah. Although I thought their centres were strong running, especially when our defence did a defence where you start outside the guy you want to tackle and come in and leave space where you run away from.
Well, they're also strong runners when they have their number eights running interference in front. The first try,
Yeah.
the number eight just completely takes out Whitelock.
Yeah.
And
Right. Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's the ref was so overawed with the occasion. And he refed by momentum.
Yeah.
If the momentum was going with Africa and the African crowd said something, he went it. There was times that the Marshall was going on about the number two, the hooker, the South African hooker, and all he was doing was going in and pinning the ball to the All Blacks' chest.
Yeah.
And every single time, and getting penalties. I think about half a dozen times.
Yeah. He's got a reputation for being good at that, and you wonder whether at times the referees are, he can't do any wrong because he's good at that. And then poor old Kane, he's good at that too, but God, did he get smashed? Oh,
his injury was an accident.
Yeah, I suppose it was. But when this business of jackling, when you've got to bend over completely
to
get your hands on the ball and expose your backbone and your neck to anybody, and it can be your own teammates who do your damage just as easily. It can be the opposition.
Well, I wrote down what's more dangerous: rucking or two 120-kilogram 6'4" guys bending their head and going at it like mountain goats.
Oh, and it's not just the neck that's the problem. To get low enough to get on the ball, you've got to spread your legs so far that you're in danger of breaking your groin.
Well, because you're allowed to play the ball on the ground, and you're allowed to go over the top if you do it in numbers, and you do it really low. Apparently, we had to bring back driving through the ball, and the ball when it's available it's out, and you can play for it.
Oh, I think the rule should be that if you as the ball carrier on the ground, you're out of play. If you don't play the ball immediately, you're gone.
Yeah.
And that means that, playing the ball with the foot, and it leads to a minor bruising on a guy's back.
Yeah.
It's not damaging anyone.
It's a lot nicer to get a sprig to the back than it is to get a neck injury with someone lying on your neck. And how many more people, when the rucking was allowed, people would actively roll away from the ruck.
That's right.
And now you don't have to, and the refs protect you from lying in there. I was astonished at the Aaron Smith when he goes, he threw the ball into him. What's the penalty? Being outside or throwing the ball into the guy who's offside? It doesn't matter if it's deliberate.
Well, that might have been where Aaron Smith wanted to pass the ball.
Yeah.
And the guy's standing offside.
He took away an option. I didn't know that. I think we're too polite.
Oh.
What you say about Sean Fitzpatrick.
No.
The refs knew they couldn't get it. Like Kieran Reid turns around and he's kind of like, oh, okay, type of thing. Like, no, that's not good enough. They're like, he should be saying, What's the name of the hooker?
The New Zealand hooker.
No, the South
Corey-
African. The South African hooker.
Marks. Yeah, Malcolm
Is
Marks.
that like he should Kieran Reid, after the third time that had happened, he say, look, he's pinning the ball against us, against our own bodies, and we aren't able to think it. If you don't say it, the ref's just going to let it go.
Oh,
It is the squeaky wheel gets the oil type of thing.
Yeah.
I thought,
Go on.
were we tired? I don't know. Like I looked at it. The South Africans did nothing.
No. No, I thought there were times though, but we should have varied our attack.
But-
Most of the time we kicked the ball, it was so inaccurate we conceded possession.
I had a checklist of how many times Barrett aimlessly kicked the ball.
Yeah.
I got up to 5,
Yeah.
and that's way too many. Doing a bomb from your own 22 just to the halfway at altitude with no runners.
Yeah. Well,
And that's what led to the first. That's what led to the first try.
You use altitude to get distance.
Yeah.
You put the ball so far down there and you chase hard, but you've got to be patient. And they might boot it back. So you say, blow this, I'm kicking it down to you again. And the first one to lose their patience and try running with the ball concedes territory. You know?
Because I don't know do you know the difference in altitude between where the
Johannesburg
and
Pretoria.
and where the Argentinian game was played,
I think South Africa will be higher.
because the Argentinian game, the way the Australians played in the second half, how they kicked it, I'm like, it didn't look like the game was played at altitude, because the South Africans didn't do anything either.
No.
Like,
Although I thought in that second half the Australians got their handling right.
Oh, yeah.
And it stopped those stupid 50-50 passes.
Well, I've never
seen possession
with the have you ever seen a team collectively forget that there's a second half than the Argentinian team?
There were times when they looked as bad as a senior club team playing in that their standard dropped away so badly.
When the number 8, when the first 5 tried to clear the ball, and he physically had to, he got blocked from his own number 8 because he was standing in front of him. and it was just a virus through the team. The backs didn't even look good. Like the outside backs who usually play with confidence and sort of play on fumes. They're big fellas. I don't know if they were more affected by the altitude than the Australians were.
But they almost seemed to be psychological, and that they were embarrassed by the degree to which they were ahead, because
And then it was one of those cases where you take the foot off the gas, and then you can't get back up to speed.
Oh, yeah. But once again, the All Blacks, when they're on the opposition line, I thought if the South African defence had held up a little bit more, we could have gone to 19 rucks and ended up with no points.
Oh, yeah.
Or we did break them down in the end. But there is no variation to that.
We got nervous and started playing the nervous rugby, where you play one out, you don't play expansively. I thought they were their captain's speciality has just been borderline and a foot offside the entire time. That's all they do.
Yeah.
And did you notice also, as well as pinning the ball against the people, they were holding tacklers in the ruck to try and get penalties, especially the big guy with the hair. He did it a couple of times, one on Barrett. Yeah. But the missed forward passes. Yeah. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did.
Anytime they went at the one where Barrett had to scoot back and force the ball over the line, that was like a good 3 meters, and the touch judge was there too.
Yeah.
And it was just going with momentum, because the crowd, like if that was in Wellington, everyone would have gone and they would have got the penalty, because he just started he started switching who he gave penalties to when the 60-minute mark came around, and he realised that South Africa were ahead and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah. He thought it wouldn't matter.
I hope it, I don't know who.
I think you've got to hand it to us that we did keep the motor running, didn't we?
Yeah. It was pretty amazing because we've lived off fumes in the last couple of games.
Oh,
Argentinian game off fumes, like this one, but that's got to be concerning too, because
I think
because I think that
in many ways I'm glad it happens now, so that there is something to work on and there's enough time to get it right. But it'll be interesting to see in the next game against Australia and Japan whether there are any changes into the way we're playing. Because I don't know whether you noticed it, but with the Argentinians, when they scored all their points, it was all playing down channels and offloading, and hitting the ball at pace from depth. And it was really good.
And the channel to play, the South African captain, Pocock, and the Australian captain, what's his name? Wherever they're standing, the channel to attack is just outside them because they're always inward looking. They come up, and they come up way faster than the guy on their outside. You just want to put someone with good hands. I thought one of the things that saves us is how good our front row is in all aspects of the game. That pass that set Aaron Smith was one of the best passes I've seen. I thought it might have been a little forward, but I thought it was fantastic. He did everything right. He did what the centres don't do. He made a break and then looked wide.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it, the number of players who they haven't been tackled, they've broken the line, and they almost seek the tackle rather than be evasive and knowing that if you go to the left and pop the ball to the right, if you'll have a support player accelerating onto it.
Ioane. He's got so much speed, so much evasiveness when he wants to, and like the little South African wingers, they know they're not big, and as a consequence, they step every time and make ground.
That black guy on the wing with the gap in the front of his teeth.
Yeah.
Boy, can he play rugby? He's terrific.
I don't know. We've got to come up with a way of playing away from contact.
Oh, yeah.
And not seeking it. That's all we're doing. It's like two teams battering at each other, and there'll be a missed tackle here and there.
And, that's so vulnerable, because if that's not working and that's all we've tried, there's no second string to our bow,
Well, I mean, I hope the experiment of Barrett playing first five is over. Because I think, I don't know how much... When you see a first five looking as if he's not controlling the game and doesn't play to any game plan, like the pass he threw on like a quick throw-in to absolutely no one forward. Like, did he not watch his brother like a couple of weeks ago?
This week, yeah.
I mean,
I think Mo'unga's the goods. I think he's very steady, and the team must know what's on.
Yeah. I reckon his brother should be maybe moved to a flanker position.
Yeah? Oh, you mean the lock? Yeah. Yeah, because he's a tough bugger. He's as good as Kino.
He goes straight. He does stupid things. I think you're going to realise how good Sam Cane is.
Yeah.
By how difficult it is to replace him. But I thought, who's the Wellington open side?
Yeah, Severe.
Severe is awesome. I like him. Like he doesn't have the weight, so a lot of the times he has to break the line different ways. But I reckon you can play him as a outright open. So and then have Barrett as a blind or number 8. What did you think of Sam Cane? Not Sam Cane. He
dedicates himself to that job, but I'm worried about him because he's been in it so much.
Oh,
These guys could want to sue the organisation.
I know.
For allowing an unsafe game to be played and that they've damaged themselves doing.
I think you can, but I think we can play a different way.
Yeah, I think we can too.
And I think the refs...
Now, if you take a set piece, now Aaron Smith's pass, I would assume, can be quite long. So why is our first receiver not grabbing the ball at the maximum length to get away from the opposition forwards? And then you've got them all running onto the ball.
Well, especially when the rule used to be the ball was out when you put your hands on it, and now that's not the case.
Yeah.
You can do a dive pass, set yourself like a squat with the ball on the ground, and do a dive pass 50 meters if you want.
Yeah.
And like how we'd always get on Bashop for not having the ability to go from the ground up.
Yeah,
and that was a real skill, and that's not a skill the halfbacks need anymore because of the rule. I don't know why that rule.
Well, the rule should be that the rule that should be applied by the referees is that if a bird can shit on the ball,
it's out. Yeah,
it's out.
Because
But the number of times you see it, oh God.
There's so much because. Did there used to be so much of that, what the Irish call, what was it they used to call, like, bridging?
Oh, yeah.
There didn't was there always, I suppose more people were committed to the rucks and the mauls, and you'd get more of a massive humanity going at it. But I hate seeing that because it just seems like to counter it, you're going to hurt someone majorly. And there's no actual rucking, and I'd rather see those two guys go through the ball and ruck it out. I think that's safer. I think it speeds up the game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't allow the defense to get set, and it means that the defensive line has to be constantly going backwards because you make the ruck becomes longer because you're going through it.
Exactly. At present, the ruck often doesn't have any of the defending team in it, therefore it's not a ruck, but it's assumed to be a ruck that's 2 meters across.
Yeah.
And so the offside line is 2 meters, the defence line is 2 meters from the attack line.
Yeah.
And they're standing, the attacker's standing on the attack line, stationary, receives the ball and the tackler at the same time. God. And that's what was so disappointing about the Argentinian second half, because in the first half that was really good.
Yeah.
They were running onto their passes bloody well.
It was like their forwards decided, we've got a half off, don't have to do anything anymore.
Oh, yeah. I probably think that Sanchez going off did play a part in it too.
Okay.
They're extremely good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When do you think it's going to get... Do you think where you score has got to be a tactical thing? Like, we're down more, about 14, I think, or 15 or something. And Ioane got that ball, and he was more concerned about how his dive looked than getting in. He could have run over the try line standing up, taken on that guy with a step. The guy would have had to go low, and you get it closer, and you get that kick with left 4 points on the board. And then Perinara, close to that as well, was hitting the blind side the whole time. Okay, you get the try, but if they had got over there, thankfully they got stopped and they ended up going the open side and got it closer to the post. But what would have happened if you went blind?
Yeah, well, that's what the problem is with Perinara being right-handed. He hasn't developed a left-handed pass.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what I reckon. Just watching him.
I mean, man, because that's really troubling, especially when you don't have to do it from the ground anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, if you do it from the ground and put your foot close to the ball, you can use all the muscle strength up your leg, through your body, and out through your hands to fire that ball any distance you like.
Right.
You know?
Do you think the forwards have the right to turn around to the backs who aren't kicking out and just like, can you give us a fucking break?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're at our altitude, we've got our backs against the wall, we're getting 30% of the thing, and you guys aren't finding touch at altitude.
Well, I was watching a provincial game the other night, and the old story of getting the ball in front of the forwards.
Yeah.
You know, forwards love it.
Yeah.
But God, having to go back and win it again, go back and win it again. Oh God,
I mean,
it's thrashing them.
I think the front row we have now is one of the best front rows we've ever had. I think Sam Whitelock needs a rest, or he looked tired.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I think given the level of fitness in all teams, the effort going into Test match rugby now is probably greater than it's ever been. You know.
Yeah.
They're going to be bloody fit.
Yeah.
And you know, altitude when you're not playing at it all the time does have an effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Man, what
Never
about,
mind. We'll see how they go against Australia in Tokyo.
yeah. Yeah, like, what else did I have? What's the idea with, like, blocking on the side of a ruck or a maul for a kicker when you're not bound? Apparently you're allowed to do that now?
Well, they're actually standing in an offside position because the hindmost foot's the offside line.
Yeah.
And they're wanting it for the box kick, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because Aaron Smith got one charge down, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, and then the Fap got a penalty for someone tackling him when the big long-haired guy was blocked the guy trying to tackle him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other ruling that is strange is that apparently if the halfback's got his hands on the ball, you can't have a go at him. But if it's a prop who's playing halfback, having arrived at the ruck at the right time, he's fair game.
Yeah.
They just don't understand it.
And if there's a knock on in the ruck and you're going forward, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Which I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I'm like happy for that to happen because there's so much shit going around. But yeah, there's a lot that needs to be cleaned up, I think.
Well, the contest possession has got to be a genuine one, and it should be won by the team who arrives with sufficient forwards to bound in good body position and drive the opposition off it.
Yeah.
Now, if you happen to be the defending team, you have an opportunity of winning the ball, and when you do win it, the opposition have stood deep because they're expecting to win it, and you've got the reward of time and space to score a try.
Well, it hasn't changed after, when was it? 1999 when I did that. Like, I watched 180 something games from all levels, and the conclusion came on, you got to let the guy play it. Then you got to, maybe 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Then they can play it. Then the opposition can go and get it.
Yeah.
But if you're a forward and you're close to the goal line and you go over, you have eternity to get it back. You can have a go at the try line, come back, wrestle it, and get back. If you're a winger who's going back from a wiper's kick and there's two opposition gets it, apparently you got to let it go within like half a second.
Yeah, I know.
And it's all these rules that aren't applied equally to circumstances. Yeah. They're applied how it looks.
Yes. Yeah. How it looks at the time. Yeah.
So I don't know what to do about.
Could be so much better.
I don't know what to do about the amount of fatigue.
Well, what you've talked about before, where you don't allow substitutions and normal fatigue can set in.
Right.
Because we're replacing our entire front row. In fact, the second front row is almost as good as the first one.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, your camera's going all over the show. Because is the light changing? Are you watching TV?
Oh, it's the television.
Oh, yeah. Just pause it. Because you're going like, you look like you're at a disco. But that's all right.
Yeah, it'll stay like that now.
Yeah. Um, but
Just having a look what else I wrote down.
so I wonder what they're going to do.
Oh, yeah. The other thing, tackles above the waist.
Yeah.
So the South Africans are big enough that if we tackle above the waist,
Yeah.
they can use leg drive to get another 10 metres, And have you ever noticed the way Sonny Bill tackles?
No.
He tackles using the ball carrier's momentum to drag them down, to scrag them down.
Like judo?
Yes. And it concedes territory. And in rugby, unlike rugby league, conceding territory over the gain line creates momentum for the opposition.
Yeah. No. I mean, I remember the big difference going from playing rugby in Wellington and going in Ireland is they tackled around their ankles. And like playing in Wellington, you get hit twice really big a game. And I got hit once a season in Ireland. But it was super, because you barely see them. Yeah. Like you'd be going and you'd be cut down early. And that works better for the smaller, quicker, more skilled team. Because if you can get there faster, if you go to the ground, that's why wingers and stuff, when they go down, because most of the time they're fast, and so the tackle has to be around their ankles. They only get half a second to play the ball. But if you're a forward, you go down in the slow sort of wrestling movement, and you get 3 or 4 seconds to get it back.
Yeah. The other thing they should realise is that when those wings are tackled, like you're talking about, as he's going down, if the support player's running onto it, his arms are free to pop the ball up.
Yeah.
They drop in the tackle.
Passing off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, passing off the ground.
You can even chest pass,
Pretty much. Yeah. And if you then that would bring back a smaller loose forward. A smaller, quicker Eric Rush size loose forward that is a link between the forwards and the backs, which it used to be, rather than just another huge body smashing into people. But I think who came on again? The Wellington. I forget his name all the time.
Severe.
Yeah. I think Severe could be that guy. I think he's a really good link between two.
I think so too. But you go back to the days of Phil Waugh and George Smith in the Australian team.
Yeah.
And the two in the Australian team at present, Hooper and Ocock.
Yeah.
They're sharing the job.
Yeah.
Whereas with our team, it seems to all fall on the shoulders of the guy with number 7 on his back.
It's so weird with the Australian team in the second half. It seems like, I don't know, they were playing simple rugby.
Oh, yeah. Drawing the man and passing the ball. And the comments people, who was it?
Kearns.
Their halfback. What's his name?
Gregan.
George Gregan and Kearns, the hooker.
Yeah.
They're saying, in the second half, they squared their hips up. They ran at the opposition. They committed the defence and passed to a player in a better position than themselves.
I don't often agree with Kearns, but I completely agree with him. He said, when they're running to the sideline, that's useless.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, when you do the hands on the ball now rule from halfback, why as a forward do you give yourself one step of momentum? You can literally have Aaron Smith with his hands on the ball take a 20-metre running start to Sam Whitelock or Retallick or one of the props with two guys flanking him onto the ball. I don't know why, if you're allowed to do that, why don't we do that? Instead of getting it flat-footed, because you could still get it at the place where you get it flat-footed.
You're moving.
It would immediately have to become illegal because it would be so dangerous. It would be like a flying wedge type of situation. But why is it? It's just laziness.
Well, I've also noticed that if the attacking line stands deep and runs onto it, the defensive line is threatened.
Yes,
and they don't come forward as fast as they otherwise would. They have to concede your space.
Well, it would have to be almost like an evolutionary survival tactic. If someone's coming that fast at you, you're not going to run as fast at them.
No.
You have to.
And of course, to counter that, and it's what they're not doing, is if you defend inside out, you get a side-on tackle on that guy. But at present, they're going outside in, and the space they're running in from, the attack can play into that space and away they go.
You could literally have 3 sets of 3 different players coming back from 10 metres, switching around places before Aaron Smith delivers the ball to them.
But, something as simple as, you played fullback, something as simple as coming onto the ball off the shoulder of 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And because you come off the shoulder, you're a long way from the defender and you just go sailing on through.
It's amazing. It's amazing when someone does it.
No.
Like how Falau did it.
Okay.
And
he did.
It went straight through. Straight through. Oh, well, another thing was, what is the defensive pattern close to the line? It looks like we have no fullback following the ball as it goes across. It seems like the halfback just drops back, the fullback goes to the winger, and then the winger comes in.
Yep.
Is that it?
Like that. Yep, it does.
Which seems crazy dangerous for any chip.
Yep.
And there's one, like one of the South Africans tries where they broke one tackle and that was it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have, because usually it would be the fullback following the ball.
Yep.
And the halfback trailing him, or on the inside, a bit closer.
And the wing staying on his man.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's not like I don't know why you need another player out wide. It's not like anyone uses the width so effectively that you can't go from inside out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
it was a weird weekend of rugby because. That was a nail-biting game, but the rugby getting played was... I thought the best rugby that was played was by Australia in the second half. But the worst was Argentina in the second half. And the second worst was South Africa, who thought they should have beaten us and played awful. I couldn't believe them kicking for touch, not going for... They kicked for touch... And with like 20 minutes gone, then they screwed around with the ball, got a penalty out under the post and kicked.
Yeah.
They seemed so happy just to not be losing at halftime.
Yeah.
They left. But
you remember when we were in Ireland and they had Humphreys at first 5 and Ireland had such a bad record at that stage that the whole aim of the game was to reduce how much you lose by.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That's before Brian joined the team and changed the whole complexion of it.
But that was when Ireland didn't have, they wouldn't get 70% of possession. Like, I don't know what. South Africa had all the possession, all the position, and all of the penalties. And was smiling at halftime at 6-3.
Yeah.
They left like at least 20 points on from the first half.
Yeah.